This video contains spoilers for Shadow of the Erdtree and Elden Ring. Messmer is my favorite boss fight in the Souls series, but what separates him from the rest of the pack, and what even makes a good boss fight? Obviously the fight itself needs to be good, but there's a lot more to it. Art and music are also two huge factors in any boss fight. They mostly dictate the feeling and the emotional beats of the fight. And no, I don't count the anger you feel when you die to Malenia the 50th time in a row. And this ties heavily in with the story, lore and consequences of the fight, as it's important to have stakes and understand what both sides are fighting for. This can sometimes be really hard to track in Souls-like games, because they don't exactly give you the story to your face. It's more environmental and abstract. And a lot of people make the argument that you need a university degree to understand any of this shit. But guess what? You're in luck, since I've been studying Soulsology my entire life. I will now explain all of Messmer's lore perfectly. First of all, he's like a hot redhead, which means that there's only a couple relatives he can have: Malenia, Radagon, and Radahn. Unfortunately, Malenia is too much of an Oni-san chimp
I am Malenia, Blade of Mikola.
to sire any children, so Radahn or Radagon are the only options. And unfortunately, Radahn got taken out of commission, so Radagon is the only one left. And to find out the mother, we had to really dig deep into his first cutscene where he says that Marika is his mother. And since Radagon and Marika are the same person, is that incest? I don't know what that is, but that's quite disgusting. Because of this weird birth circumstance, he's inherited a special type of flame that all the self-cessed babies seem to have, and this flame made him a crusader that gave him fame. You know, when a hot redhead gets famous, a giant snake shows up. Isn't this just a Harry Potter copy? Yes, but in this one the snakes win, and this makes him Snake Man. But unfortunately DC or Marvel probably already has the copyright to that, so he has to keep calling himself the Impaler. Not being able to call himself Snake Man has made him really depressed, and that's why he sounds so mournful when you speak to him.
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of life?
He's like that guy who showed up to work but doesn't really want to be there, so he's just saying his lines. Not because he wants to, but because he needs to get paid. Have you seen his castle? These maintenance fees can't be cheap.
Yet, my purpose standeth unchanged. Those stripped of the grace of gold shall all meet death. In the embrace of Messmer's flame.
When he finally stops yapping and the fight is about to start, the first thing you notice is the tune that starts playing. The OST is only played with minor or diminished chords, and it gives you this lamenting feeling. This blends in the soundscape of his flames and your weapons clashing. The soundscape here is truly awesome, and I think you could blindfold this fight if you learned every single sound. Your hits on him also create different kind of sounds, and especially when hitting the snake part, it creates this crunchy roar. He always starts with the same opener. He always jumps up in the air and then comes down and explodes, and you have to roll both the initial landing and the explosion. And these bigger hits he does always leaves him open for a couple counterattacks or a charge attack. His basic moveset is a mix of spear stabs and wide swings mixed with fire attacks. Stuff you would expect from a spear wielder. He can even stab his own flames to give fire to his spear, extending his already great range spear to further lengths. And for the player to react to this naturally, you want to get up close and personal or get super far away, because you really don't want to be caught in the mid-range where he's at his strongest. But getting far away isn't gonna be great either, because he has ways to close the distance fast. But if you need healing, this might be the best way to get a heal off. On top of his basic combos, he has a couple of special combos where he jumps up into the air, swinging his flame spear up, and he can either start this with a whirlwind swing or a wide swing. On the wide swing, he follows up with his special attack, which is a triple step into a ground pound into a ground spear explosion. And learning this special combo is the key to this fight, just like learning Waterfowl is the key to Malenia. I think I heard someone dub this the Firefowl as well. After every one of his combos, you have a small window to punish him, and after some of them, you have a bigger window for a charge attack. But if any part of his combo hits you, you need to use that time to heal. And when you master the fight enough, you can even get some cheeky hits in mid his combos, or get punished by greed and look like an idiot doing it. His striking visual design is at full display here, and his combos are still very well readable, even though his movements look very intimidating. This makes the best way to fight him to roll diagonally towards him every time, so his spears won't catch you. This is a struggle, especially the first time around, because he looks so intimidating up close. This phase 1 is a lot more complicated than a lot of the phase 2s in the game, and when you finally manage to beat him, it all starts making sense. This guy doesn't want to be here working, but you are forcing him, and his mom is watching, so he can't exactly call it quits. You're the bad guy here.
I will not suffer. A lord devoid of light.
Never mind, he's racist, cancel him. But before your brutal Twitter cancellation attack goes through, he gouges his own eyeball out, and destroying this pure golden eyeball makes a giant snake go inside of him. Just like when a fair maiden loses her purity, a giant snake can go inside of her. Karma hits him real fast from the previous incident, as now his eyes are completely devoid of light. When phase 2 starts, he hits us with the same opening as before, but in giant snake form. I feel like it's really hard to tell visually when this attack is about to go off, but there is a great audio cue you can listen to get an easy dodge. And this giant snake isn't just for show. He has gained multiple different moves on top of his old combos with the snake. And especially his double snake into spear explosion combo is a must know for a successful fight. And all these snake combos are like a thrashing monstrosity type combos that are completely different from the dueling spearman combos he does. And he can do either or. Sometimes he can even weave them together slightly. The snake combos are all exploitable in the sense that he has to recover after them, so you can go for a good punish. And hitting that snake feels so satisfying with the crunchy hit. He also gains a couple new moves in the human form, like this weird kind of underhand slash thingy he does. And I have no idea how he can even get hit by it. I've never managed to do that. And then he also gains this weird long range stab kind of charge. And this one can be especially brutal because it feels like you're outside of his range and can heal, and then he can just stab you. Just like Snape stabbed Dumbledore. He's very easily readable even in this mad chaotic state. I absolutely adore this about this fight, that it can be so cool looking, so visually stunning. Everything's going haywire. You can still intuitively understand the flow of combat here. And that's what makes this fight so great. The trend from P1 continues, where he is incredibly fast but has clear punish windows. It may not be the hardest fight in the series, but it is my favorite. But as all things do, I have a couple of minor nitpicks. First of all, the phase 2 starting attack has a very poor visual indicator, but it gets saved by the audio one. But if you're only relying on visuals, I can imagine that can be really difficult. When he's in his snake form and you're close to a wall, he can sometimes click through the wall and then you can't see when he's going to attack. And finally, his weird spear thingy that goes to the ground doesn't really ever hit the player. I don't understand what it's supposed to do. Like I said, very minor things that could be fixed, but they don't really matter that much. After beating Messmer, you can finally burn down the seal to a tree and go fight the Sim King himself. Who's your favorite boss in the Souls series? Let me know in the comments down below. And like and subscribe. Bye.